My high school experience was an absolute roller coaster. During my freshman year, I made decisions that cost me everything. I damaged my relationship with my family, my friendships, my mental health, my physical health, and my academics, all for the sake of validation for people that never truly gave a fuck about me. However, I was able to turn this around and graduate on time with my graduating class. If you'd like to know the full story, stick around to the end. So, starting off freshman year, I decided not to hang out with people from middle school. I decided to hang out with this guy I met in summer school. Between eighth grade and freshman year, I met this guy. He was a bit of a troublemaker, and I decided to hang out with him and his friends. Bad decision. They were not a right. They were not a crowd that you would want your kid or your child or anybody that you care about deeply to be associated with. You know, um, I started smoking. I started drinking. I've I've tried other substances. Because I was under peer pressure, even though I didn't want to. I was peer pressured, just so I could get validation. So they could cheer me on. Yeah, Eric. You did this, but it was not worth it. Freshman year, we had maybe a friend group about 20 to 30 people. It was a lot of us. Slowly but surely, people moved away. People had beef. We started shrinking gradually. Halfway to freshman year, we've scaled maybe to half our original size, and it just kept compounding as the years went by. In terms of academics, I basically the first 2 years of high school, I basically showed up and I went just to get babysat. I did not do shit. Basically, I failed all my classes except physical education. That's embarrassing. That's embarrassing. Looking back at that, I so regret that shit. I regret it. If I could go back in time, I would smack myself and, make myself study. But, you live and you learn. But that's how my academics went. I was a bit of a troublemaker, in middle school. But associating myself with this group of people, it kind of skyrocketed, my bad choices. I would lie to my family about where I'd be going. I'd go out late at night just to hang out with these group of kids, and it honestly wasn't worth it. I put myself in danger. I put my family through so much stress, worrying about my well-being. I could be out at 1 a.m., 2 a.m. They could be texting, calling me, but I'd ignore them because I wouldn't want to deal with them getting worried. And that's selfish of me. That was so selfish of me doing that. Basically, I put that group of people over my family, and that's a big mistake. Your family comes above everybody else. Your family is number one. I, you know, I've 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 learned. I've talked to my family about my mistakes, and I've apologized deeply for my actions. And we're closer than ever, and our relationship is better than ever. We you know, I was just going through a phase. I was impressionable and basically seeking validation in friends. Yeah. Um, you know, my expectation going into high school, we thought, yeah, there's gonna be it's gonna be the time of our lives. Yeah, we're gonna get girls, we're gonna party, all that good stuff. Sorely disappointed. Unfortunately, I didn't date any girls in high school. Not up until my senior year, but you know, it is what it is. Um, but I believe God gives us certain paths for us. He didn't want me to take a certain one, and He gave me this one so I could learn. I truly believe that. So my sophomore year kind of went the same. However, um, I did get into an altercation with this one guy, and that basically broke up our friend group even more. So, yeah, as I said, we started shrinking more. Junior year comes around. I go talk to my academic counselor. She tells me you have no possibility of graduating on time if you stay at this school. The only possibility that you have is if you stay another year, a fifth year, which was absolutely not a choice. It was not something I would be considering. Or if I could go to a continuation school. I could work on my current year and I could make up the 2 prior years that I messed up, and I made that decision. And that's continuations. For those of you that don't know, continuation schools basically are where all the bad kids get sent. They're not academically proficient, and a lot of them tend to get expelled from those schools and they get sent that school. So I felt like I kind of felt like an outsider there, even though I was a bit of a troublemaker, but I just felt like I didn't belong, and I shouldn't be making friends with these group of people. But I did manage to make 3 years of work in 1 year, and I managed to avoid any physical altercations because a lot of people there, they were very provoking and they just wanted a reaction. There was a time where I wanted to fight someone in class, but I sat down because I was there for a reason. I'm not there to fuck around. I'm there to go back to my original school, and I'm there to get shit done. And I was not going to let anyone deter me from my goal. So I went back to I was able to catch up on credits. In fact, I was able to get ahead on credits. So yeah, this senior year comes around. I don't recognize a place. I don't even recognize my social group. I started eating lunch alone. I started hanging out with teachers or securities more during my senior year because you have more of an adult mindset and you relate to them more than the people that you hung out with the last 2 years. But no, classes were pretty decent, and it was good to be back, but it just didn't feel the same. I felt like I feel like God made me go away for a year so I could grow up. He took me away from that environment so he could see what was really damaging my life. And it worked, and it opened my eyes ultimately. And ultimately I was able to graduate on time with my graduating class. you know and that's cool and all, but like I said, I don't really talk to people from high school anymore. I just grew out of those friendships. I feel like the only reasons we were friends were because we saw each other multiple times a day for, I guess, the first 2 years of high school. We would hang out after school, but honestly, there was a point where I hung out with that so-called social group like during senior year, and I just felt out of place. I'm like, I don't feel like I belong here. We don't have similar values, similar mindsets, similar goals. Everyone's just different. Ultimately, I had grown out of that, and you know, it was tough to realize that, because a lot of people would rather stay within their friend groups rather than being alone. But I made a decision to, just hang out with myself, my family, and hang out with the handful of friends that I actually consider friends. But yeah, maybe that story didn't have all the details for high school, but that's the gist of how it went academically, socially. I thought I would have gotten girls freshman year, sophomore year, even junior year. That was an expectation. I was disappointed that I didn't. But at the same time, I was shy. I never really made any attempts, so it wasn't surprising, thinking back about it. And, yeah. Like I said, I managed to destroy my life as a teenager. And going into senior year, I managed to turn it all around while patching up some friendships and relationships with my family. My mental health became stronger. I started going to the gym more. I started hanging out with family, and just basically I learned to cut out the people and cut out things that were basically just damaging me, poisoning me. But, that's the gist of the story. If any of you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the comment section. I'm more than happy to answer any questions that you have. But if you watch this video and even stuck around to the end, I appreciate you. I love you from the bottom of my heart, and I hope you have an amazing day, evening, night, whenever you're watching this. Thank you. To the next one.